Yo, what's going on?
What's up?
How are you?
Yo. See ya. Oliver, mom's sitting out there waiting for you. In the parking lot. Yeah, she came here to pick you up. Sorry. Shuttling from track practice in North Atlanta, and Mary starts meeting you in the middle to grab.
So we get it understood. Whenever you're ready, Lamar. Yeah, because Joe's needs the restroom, so we can still account for him to be here. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Hey, my online friends, can you guys see the presentation?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Good evening. Welcome to Sutton Middle School's Go Team meeting, where we will follow the agenda as has been emailed to you and publicly noticed. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the Go Team. Only members of the team may participate in the discussion. Any members of the public present are here to quietly observe. For members of the Go Team, please identify yourself when you speak. I am pleased to call this meeting of Sutton Middle School's Go Team to order at 5:35 p.m. Our first order of business is to call roll. The secretary will now take roll.
Dr. Merriweather, Ms. Halton, Sullivan, Scott,
Here.
Williams,
Present.
Iverson, present, Bryant here, Rosenblum,
Present.
Bailey.
Present.
Oh, sorry. Lamar.
Present. This team will only be able to take official action if a quorum is present. Mr. Bryant, is there a quorum present?
Yes.
Our first order of business is to approve the agenda. This was provided to you and copies are here. Are there any changes to the agenda? May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. We will review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. The minutes have been provided to you. Are there any corrections?
I know Ashley had emailed, so were we good based on Ashley's comments? I know it was about the minutes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so were we good? Did we have to make any adjustments? Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that clarification, Dr. Merriweather. That was helpful.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, I didn't know if we needed to change anything from the meeting minutes, so as long as we were good to go with that. So I appreciate you posing those questions. And again, I'll dive into some of that today when we meet. Ashley, if you have just any follow-up to what I said earlier.
Okay.
All right, if there are no corrections, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes?
Motion.
A second? Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. We will now. All right, we will now move to the discussion items on our agenda. All right, and we're gonna turn it over to Dr. Merriweather for the budget development presentation.
Gotcha. So good evening, everyone. So here we are in step 4, where we're going to have our feedback meeting as we're talking about the budget. And so I'm going to jump right into our budget presentation, and we'll focus on resource allocation as we always focus on student outcomes. And so again, we've seen this a million times. We probably can recite it in our sleep, but again, just reviewing our strategic plan, and making emphasis, I think Ashley made a good point earlier, just making sure that 5% gain, making sure we understand that it's about the GMAS. We're not looking at MAP, it's about GMAS. And I can't see on this end, but I think GMAT should be up there on the strategic plan. Anyone closer who can see up, I see EOG GMAT. So 3 years, 15 points, but 5% leading each year. And again, we've seen the strategic plan as we've developed it together.
Wait, it looks like 5 years, 15 points, right?
Yep. So, yeah, is that what it is?
Yeah, you said 3 years.
Okay, 5 years, 15, so
Yeah,
it's
5
3,
years,
okay.
15, yeah.
Yep. Thank you for catching it, Joe. So if you guys remember, when we looked at our objectives last time, I did go in this time and just list all 12. And so if you look at under here where it says strengthening our core, instructional core, our strength is our team, our responsibility is shared. So I took all of those sub bullets and just really placed them here. I think we were all in agreement last time that, of course, while we're here in school, we want to make sure that we're meeting the unique, diverse learning needs, but really, number one, delivering targeted instructional remediation and interventions to accelerate growth. And everything else just kind of fell in part with it because it all supports that hand in hand. So I just wanted to list it all there as we just examined our strategic plan rankings. So this next piece, you will see a slide where it has a focus area, a strategic objective, a resource recommendation, and then of course a why where we are able to put additional information. And so what I went and did the liberty of doing, I looked at just kind of our top, what I saw as the top focus areas. And instead of having 10 slides on this, really looking at the focus areas of we are sparking student curiosity, strengthening our instructional core, and our strength is our team. And so if you look to the right column where it says strategic objective, when we talk about sparking student curiosity, implementing those targeted supports to help students overcome academic challenges. And so when we talk about targeted support, resource recommendation, we do have professional development as a bucket, I should say, a line item in our budget where we're able to pull from. So this is not saying that we're using $297,000 for this, but in our reserve fund, this is how much money we have. And I'll go into this a bit deeper. But if there is a need to give additional professional development, we have a solid foundation of nearly $300,000 to pull from. The second strategic objective I listed, designing learning experiences that promote inquiry, exploration, and student voice. And so in our line item, and again, we'll get to that in a few slides, we have about $65,000 there allocated to that. And just as a reminder, we have a healthy amount of the reserve funding at $297,000. I'll talk a little later about how we can utilize the reserve in any event that we need it. Next, the focus area is strengthening our instructional core, meeting the unique and diverse learning needs of every student. And so I thought about our instructional coaches where we have our IB coach, our math coach, our ELA coach, and so how they are supporting instruction building wide from core content to our connection side. And so that's totaling about $470, which I think is also a great investment as we look to improve the instructional core of teaching and learning. That's really what that is about. The next one under instructional core, delivering targeted instruction, remediation, and interventions, and accelerating growth. This goes back to that POC work where teachers are meeting twice a week. And again, the coaches leading this work alongside teachers and teacher leaders. And so that number there is the same. And then the last one, our strength is our team, equipping teachers with tools, training, and technology needed to deliver the high quality instruction that we need. And so the beautiful thing about this one is when teachers are in need of something, we always are able to buy it. Whether it's lab equipment, whether it's taking the kids on a field trip. I see Bailey here, so I just talk about the science labs that they've done for the dissections. They've done frogs, and what is it you guys done? Starfish as well. And so, again, making sure we're making real world experiences for kids. And we do have a hefty amount there, that 297 number again, just if we have to pull, if we need additional funds. Did anyone have any questions about this slide? All right, so I'm just going to keep going. So the next slide, proposed use of staffing and non-staffing allocation and school level flexibility. So I'll warn everyone now, what I'm about to show you is going to look like a lot. I've just seen it a million times. And so what you will see is a baseline where it's the district's recommended staffing for positions where we have some school level flexibility. You will see staff that shows how I am proposing to staff the position for the 27 school year. And you will see a difference from the recommendation from the district and what the principal's proposed plan is, and in the section for comments. Now, the beautiful thing about this year for us, in the past, when we've done our restructuring at Sutton, for example, when we've added the instructional coaches, we've added certain positions to really support our instructional vision for the school. That was a lot to really add, take away positions, but I'm excited to say that this year we're not adding anything and we're not taking away anything. And so essentially what we currently have this year will roll over into the upcoming school year. And so I'm going to jump right into this template and try to explain this as best as I can, line by line. So again, I did say it was a lot. So if you look at this, and to those of you online, you start with the funded positions where you see essentially in the staff column, how many teachers we have considered for math. And so if you look, for example, you have 11 that's given to us, and then you see that we're using 11. And so if you go through line by line, you just kind of see essentially the content area, how many teachers we have staffed, and how many we're using. And so that's the same for math, science, social studies, and then we go to ELA. From there, you get into your EIP, REP teachers, and then you get into your electives and enrichments. Now, I will say for band, you see that 20.5 baseline. We don't get 20 personnel for that line. That's actually shared as a district. And so from the district's allocation of about 20 band teachers, Sutton, we have our one band teacher that we use, because I just want to just clearly distinguish that there. And then it goes on from our fine arts, world language, performing arts, physical, PE, orchestra, and etc. So again, this is just showing how we've staffed with a total of about 177 positions that we have staffed for the upcoming school year. And so again, keeping in mind, we're not taking away anything and we aren't adding anything. We're pretty good and steady with it here.
So you're 9 above what they have as the baseline?
Where you
Is
see
that right?
that at?
Well, baseline is 168 and
Yes.
staffed is 177.
Yes. And so you will see where we've added just a few, I guess, so we've earned allocations where to basically we earn gifted teachers for the upcoming school year. So we'll be able to use those additional gifted teachers that we've earned to help the class sizes in the building, both campuses. And so it's okay if we go above the baseline as well.
Right. Because it's earned extra positions.
Yep. CTE, JRTC, special education. So again, just another breakdown, and we'll make sure you guys have access to this as well. If you want to look at this at a further look, but again, line by line, you see the position staff and you see what we have. So you're seeing the positions on the left-hand side, and the yellow columns, you see exactly what the school will have. Continuing paraprofessionals to support. We have some paraprofessionals based on IEPs, things of that sort, non-instructional paras, and then we have our instructional paras who are in classrooms supporting those students on the student services and with IEPs based on their needs. And one thing that we did a few years ago, we added our non-instructional hallway paras, where essentially those are those individuals who are supporting grade level floors, supporting the AP. Such a large school, we need eyes consistently on the bathroom, on the hallway, seeing what our amazing scholars are up to at all times. And so definitely keeping that has been a major, major support. If we could afford it, I would almost argue getting 2 per grade level, but I think right now 1 is just doing the trick just fine, as it's just additional support to ensure the safety and that we have structure around the building. Next, school administration, assistant principal, program manager, our school business manager. Now, this slide I wanted to share. If you look at the school secretary line here, you'll see that it's 1, but we have 4. So last year, year before last, the years are all running together. We decided to make all of our clerks, which is what they were before. If you look at the school clerk line down here, when I'm hovering, we used to have 4. We've turned them into secretaries because there was a greater need to have them work beyond the contractual end date where they stop working. With us continuing to grow in numbers, a lot of the registration, scheduling pieces that's needed, we needed to make all of those positions secretaries, which we have, and it's been working beautifully ever since. And again, another line item, student and school support. Again, when you look at all of our positions on the left-hand side over here, and you will see on the right-hand side how we have staffed them. The thing I want to bring to everyone's attention is this number 4, is that they're saying that we have earned 4 counselors, and so Ms. Fielder and I, as we're working through the budget, that is really a good need, a major need of ours that we are in need of. And so we're working with the district to see how we can be given that fourth counselor. And so we aren't paying for that fourth counselor, if that makes sense, because I think the numbers are 250 to one counselor to every 250 students, and we exceed those numbers tremendously. And so that is a constant thing that we are working on. How can we be given a fourth counselor instead of having to pay for it out of our budget? And again, another line item just of positions on the left-hand side. No turnaround does not apply to us, so you can ignore those lines there. But again, you're able to see our signature program coach, which is our IB coach. You see some additional positions that I'm sitting far back, but I can't see. Signature teacher, world language, and then at the bottom, how we are funding our custodians, psychologists, operations manager, and things of the sort, school resource officers as well, that were given by the district. So next is going to be a non-staffing tab overview that I will discuss. On this tab, you will see what's recommended, the district's recommended amount to spend on items, the allocation, which shows how much the principal is proposing to allocate towards a line item, the difference, and then also a section for notes. So when we look at our non-staffing proposal, again, back to this reserve piece, I want to start here. This reserve, let's say over the summer we get an influx of 100 students and we need additional teachers. Well, we're able to use this reserve funding, it's 297. If we needed to hire 2 or 3 teachers, we would be able to pull from here. Now, if our numbers stay consistent, when we're projected, I believe the number was about 1705. If we stay consistent there, where we don't have to hire a teacher, we're able to use this 297 in different spaces. And so, for example, we wanted to send some of our teachers on a conference. We could use these funds to send them out to Hawaii or out to LA for a conference where they will come back and present to us what they learned and how we will implement that. We wanted to use it on additional equipment, media supplies, and textbooks. So these are just different line items that we're able to spend money on. And so right now we have allocated just a few thousands for, and this is just historical based on what we've used with all of our events and ideas, school resource officer overtime, custodian overtime for events, teaching and other supplies. Now, what we like to do here, and you'll see we were given 85, but we're using, I think that's 65, because we have so much in store here. And so what we like to do is buy more supplies. Just, having one of the second largest staff in the district, we like to overbuy our supplies so we never run out of anything and we never are in need. And so essentially the supplies we have left from this year will also roll over into next year, which won't require us to spend as much money on supplies. Media supplies for our media specialists at both campuses, and then just the dues that come along with signature programming, and our signature programming being IB. Stipends, academic stipends that our teachers get, you'll see that listed here. And then you will see our teacher subs, what's allocated as far as paying for substitute teachers when we are in need of. So
Dr.
again,
Merriweather, can you tell me what academic stipends are?
yeah, so academic stipends are those stipends where teachers are essentially working with, not the club stipends, but the academic stipends stem from, give me a moment, I just had a blank. Give me a second. Yes, thank you. So it's like our POC facilitators. And so thank you, Lamar, long day. So when I spoke about teachers having POCs where they meet weekly twice, you have lead teachers who are responsible for their work. So I know Mr. Bailey is one, and I think that's it at the table right now. And so they're responsible for working alongside the coach and the AP and leading that work for their team. And so that's really the stipends we like to give our staff when they are stepping into those teacher leader positions and roles.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
No problem. So this is our budget by function. And so essentially here you see how much essentially overall we're using for instruction, pupil services, improvement. I always say each year, the blue is really where the majority of our money should be. And so when you look at the instructional piece, I believe that's 77% where we're spending our money that's impacting instruction. And then from there, we go to pupil services, improvement, educational media services, school administration, and et cetera. So this is just letting you see in a chart where the bulk of our money is going, I always say if it's not going to instruction, that's a problem.
I remember there's like, you see a lot of like the data out there about how basically, the last 30 years, well, especially at college level, but even at lower level schools, right? Like there's been massive growth in the non-instructional piece, and a lot of people are like, hey, we're putting money not towards actual students and growth instruction. Do you know, like, how does this benchmark to what other districts are or what places are? Do you have any sense of that?
Yeah, no, so I don't have a sense on how they're using their budget by functions and how they're allocating their funds, but it would be interesting to see based on, as far as looking at student outcomes, where is the money going that we're saying will impact student outcomes?
Yeah.
And so again, we'll be working, looking at neighboring districts. But again, each district, they do their kind of budget differently.
Yeah.
And so all those, they have to classify. So while we have a budget by function, fortunately, they have something different that they use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, none of them seem like 77% seems like good for instruction. And a lot of these are that are instruction adjacent, if you will, right? Like improving instructional services. What's pupil services exactly?
Like just the student services.
Okay.
So yeah, students, things that support student services. Okay. And so of course, with such a large school like ours, I always tell people, we try to, get as close to 100%, but the reality of it is we never will be able to be at 100% of all of our funds going towards instruction because there are so many, it's a multitude of facets that make up the functioning of the school just outside of instruction. We want to make sure we're meeting the whole child and what that requires to meet the whole child. So again, budget by function. So discussion of reserve funds, I've kind of already hit into this, but just putting this down, again, 297 is the magic number there. Focus areas on the left, strategic plan, objective, and then just a resource recommendation. So again, I always say, hey, if our numbers, increase, the first thing is to get more teachers in the building so we can alleviate some of those classroom sizes. So we're not having a class of 38, 39 kids, but we can keep them, my wish list, 22, 21, but we'll talk about that later. And then also too, just like I mentioned earlier, designing learning experiences that promote inquiry, exploration, and student voice. Field trips, additional materials, those hands-on materials and activities, that's important as well. So again, not saying this is the only way we can use these funds, but it's open. So based on the needs of the school, but immediately my top two, the teachers, and then what do teachers need to be successful? Those are just the top two I immediately thought about and wanted to just list and pinpoint here for the group. Any ideas or things about this?
Dr. Merriweather, for the additional teachers, do you know like specifically what subjects or what grade levels you'd be looking at for that?
So it's too
Because
early.
we can't really buy that many teachers, right? With
only about 2 teachers perhaps we could purchase with this, but
Okay.
here's it's very premature to really identify the subjects. What we do is when we do leveling, and so how when we reach out to you guys as families and say some of the kids are being moved around because of numbers. And so
Yeah.
when we start getting to our 10-day count, 15-day count, we see who's showing up to school, we see who's not. That gives us an idea on the grade level, the content where the support is needed. And so that's how we're able to kind of determine based on class sizes, where we'll get the biggest bang for our buck to support those students.
Got it.
Yep. So it happens really around leveling once we get the for sure number of who's here with us and who's not here with us. Out of curiosity for the group, just any other ideas just anyone may have as far as using leveling reserve? I know I listed 2 there, but just, for the record, definitely open to additional ideas beyond the 2 listed there, if you have.
I have a question on materials. So labs I think are great, anything hands-on. I just noticed like my 7th grader, they're reading, the Hunger Games, I think, and I noticed the book was like online. Would we ever be able to like purchase copies of a book? I'm like old school paper. So I just would love to see more like hands-on, paper books, things that aren't online.
Yeah, fair enough. And I'm the same way there. I'm very much so as a former ELA teacher, old school hands, book in your hand, annotate. And so there are opportunities for us to get class sets of books. I think the Hunger Games, if I'm not mistaken, is because of the HMH program that our teachers are using. I want to say that's part of where they are in that unit, where it's different snippets and excerpts they're pulling from, if I'm not mistaken. And so,
Okay. I thought they were reading the whole book. Okay. Yeah,
so
just like, just throwing that out there. I don't know if PTA funds any of that, but I love the idea of hands-on real things that you can hold and do.
I will say, actually, we have a massive book room here in the building at our Northside campus of books and classroom sets that we can utilize, in pretty much any setting. But we do have that in house. I just kind of think, we got back from COVID, things kind of shifted, but definitely we'll take note of that. So when we're meeting with our team and teachers, making sure there are opportunities for kids to have those, books in hands, there we're giving students that opportunity as well.
Awesome.
Yep, no, thank you for lifting that to us. All right. So these are just questions that the Go Team office put that we are able to just have some discussion. If one just hits your heart and you would like to sing to the group on it, feel free at any time. We're really looking at, does the budget proposal support our school strategic objectives and lead to achieving goals? If new positions, resources, or programs are being added, what data or feedback supports? What trade-offs are being made in the budget? Are there any current programs or resources being adjusted or reduced? And how would that impact our students? And the last one, if we are sharing staff positions, which we aren't, how would that affect student support and service delivery models at our school? And so just opening the floor up for discussion at this point.
When it comes to the first question, I really think it does support our school strategic objectives because we've been put about with instruction and we've been seeing the turnaround over the last 3 or 4 years for that. So I think if it's not broke, don't fix it.
And yeah, it's basically same number of staff.
Mm-hmm.
This year.
Yep.
How many do you anticipate kind of losing over the summer?
Moving over the summer.
Like, how many replacements are you?
So we are, I don't know an exact number. I will share without sharing too much. We are recording, and I'm acknowledging that. But there are some folks retiring. They've reached that season where they're selling into the sunset, and so the number is still up and down. Not as many retirees, but we will have some folks in the building retiring. With that, you have people closer to home. I will say each year though, Joel, we've done an impeccable job on staff retention. There still is a need, I'm trying to see how to politically say this. There still is a need to make sure performance management is happening where we have the right teachers in front of children, not just for the sake of trying to save retention scores, but for the sake of student achievement and for the sake of really getting kids ready. And so there will be some implications there from being very transparent.
Coaching up, coaching out.
Yep, coaching up, and then being open and receptive to feedback. That's key here. And so, but I'm looking at our numbers to be even better than last year. Just a matter of some of these folks retiring. They've been here, luckily, 20, 30 years, and now they've reached that point where they're looking to, retire and call it quits and pass the baton. All right.
All right, so our first action item is to vote on the draft budget. Do I hear a motion to approve this item?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. All right. Okay. Bless you. Good. We will now move on to the information items. First is the principal's report.
Yeah. And so you guys, I don't know if you saw that thing that came on the screen saying we had 10 minutes left. I thought the Go Team office fixed that, so I'm not sure why it's still limiting our time. So to our online friends, if we do cut off, just bear with us. We're going to cut back on and figure this out. So I just want to put that out. I'm not saying we're just getting you guys offline. So information items. You guys remember last time we spoke about just the DLI and we had conversation about just really hearing from our DLI parents and the parent community. I sent out communication. I know you guys received, and I have to remind myself of being recorded. So I'm being particular what I say here. But yes, there are some passionate, and I say it's passionate folks about DLI, which we love. And for the record, I'm an advocate and a supporter of DLI. Is there an opportunity for us to look at where can we get the biggest bang for our buck? And also, too, we've been doing this. What type of evaluation is being done to ensure that our kids are getting what they need with the language proficiency and the content proficiency as well? And so I do have some data for you really quickly. Based on the why behind it, sending out a survey to parents, looking at class sizes, ESOL services, content performance, staffing, and funding, just really the 4 main big buckets on some challenges that we currently have with our DLI program. If you guys recall from our budget line items that we just reviewed, not $1 is what we get from the district office in order to fund this program. So we're having to use school dollars, school level dollars to make sure we're able to have the best DLI program it can be. So again, staffing and funding, that's that funding bucket there. So this is something, kudos to Ms. Fielder for developing this for me. But when we look at our current class size averages, general class average to DLI class average. And so when we talk about staffing, just for example, you look on the left, I'm not going to go through line by line, but you can see just our regular class sizes of general classes from, in many cases, our unlevel, our accelerated classes, advanced content classes. But when you look on the DLI side, you see those are significantly lower. In the perfect world, we want class sizes on both ends of this to look like what you see on the DLI class average size. So this is some data that I want to share with you guys as to why, we're sparking this conversation.
Real quick, why, like when you get to 8th grade, it's not that different. 6th grade, like ELA is a delta of 6. You get to 8th grade and they're almost, except from the science one, the others are pretty darn close. They're within 1 student. So why is there a big delta between 6th grade and 8th grade? Because kids drop out?
Depends on multiple things. You got kids dropping out. You have some kids based on their scheduling. Some folks opting out. Yeah. And so
But do you agree 8th grade's not that different?
You're looking at the
all 3 ELAs within
on which side, the DLI or the?
I'm saying go to 8th grade. ELA is less than a student on ELA 8. Science is like 3, and then SLA is less than a student. So 8th grade is not that big of a difference in class sizes.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Yeah. Okay. So English language learner support, again, just want to throw some data out there of just our ELL learners and their performance. We look at 6th, 7th, and 8th grade from fall and winter. And again, the red is beginning, yellow developing, and the green is proficient. And so when we look at just those map reading scores, we see just the alarming scores that our kids are currently demonstrating. So when it comes to staffing implications, we've had to expand ELA by adding the 7th and 8th grade teacher in the past. We've had to add a 6th grade science teacher. We've had to add a 6th grade reading and ELA teacher. And then, of course, we've added that FTE full-time equivalent. We've added 1 teacher to accommodate a .55, which is basically one of our ESOL classes that we offer during connections to provide additional support. And this is not even hitting on the 2 connections classes currently, visual arts and DLI media literacy that we offer. And so again, using a budget, but being very strict and very constrained in what we can do when scheduling our DLI kids when compared to their non-DLI peers. So again, I put the survey out. I think it's worth you guys seeing some of the responses and just getting some trends here. So from the survey, 106 people responded, 60% preferred option 1, leaving it as is. 40% they were open to change, options 2 or 3. Many families define, again, DLI as core content taught in Spanish. Strong belief by some families, based on the comments, the passionate comments, I should say, removing Spanish from core class change. You have to make fun of this. Class change is the nature of DLI. Many families spoke about the high school alignment, the significant concern about the readiness for Spanish taught courses at North Atlanta. Families worry about impacts to IB pathways and the sale of biliteracy. Now, however, when it comes to access to student opportunity, families were open to options 2 and 3. They cited just the current limited elective choice, where those DLI connections classes, the kids, honestly, they get tired of taking the same class from 6, 7, and 8, repeating that same connections class, and the inability to take some connections classes because of the DLI current model. And some families said a lot in the survey, which I felt good about, having that flexibility to kind of pick and choose which classes would really encourage them to stay in DLI. And then the last piece there is staffing and sustainability. Acknowledgement that bilingual content staffing is challenging. Many families said that at the middle school level, and then concerns about class size, teacher capacity, and long-term sustainability. And so again, that was a survey, and whoever's watching this after today, next week, next month, this survey was intended on what I said originally, to simply get feedback and to hear people's concerns. I think concerns are valid on both ends when we look at the DLI model. People are wanting flexibility, which is valid. People think, that, hey, I signed up for this elementary school. I like the way it's going. Let's keep it going. And at the same time, that is valid as well. But my wondering is, and nothing is set in stone, but my wondering is there an opportunity to provide families with flexibility? One lady, she gave a sweet message saying, as much as she loves the program, her only thing, she just wished she had autonomy to decide connections class. Basically giving her kid the option to not do, let's say, DLI media literacy because she's had it for 2 years as an 8th grader, but instead, could she go to the business class? Could she do guitar? Could she do something else that would give her a more rounded experience? And so I think listening to both sides of that, it's been definitely super valuable, super helpful. And so right now, again, just nothing has been said. This is just all to support ideas for the upcoming school year. So again, nothing has been changed at this very moment as of today, February 10th. Any questions, comments, concerns about this DLI survey, takeaways to our friends online? Is there anything that you have? I'm just curious to hear from the team.
So the 3 current classes, it's the ELA, it's the
Social
Spanish
studies.
language and social studies.
And then you have science.
Science,
You have science as well for
Yeah.
7th grade and 8th grade.
7th and 8th.
Yep.
And which of those is the hardest to staff?
Dr. Merriweather is paying science.
Yeah.
And so for reasons I can't speak online right now, but when it comes to science, it takes a special person to really teach the language and the content. And then when you look at our 8th grade science scores, being very transparent, they're declining year after year of our DLI kids. So if you look at our DLI kids compared to the non-DLI kids in science, they are outperforming the DLI kids in science. And so that is something there. I will just share a wondering of mine is, how do we get our DLI core content? Again, it's an idea still, if we keep it on the core content side, how can we get it to where our kids are learning in Spanish in these core content classes, but in some cases they are taking an assessment by the state in English. So is there room in getting with Dr. McKenzie